All right, guys. So a little bit of a last minute decision. So I didn't want to do my normal intro, and just to show how last minute this was, I'm joined by Chad for a Paddock Talk. I haven't done one of these in 3 months. If you want to say hello.
Hey guys, how's it going?
So this was very last minute. I want to preface. We decided to do this on his random message he sent over me that he has some time. So I don't know. Figured we could do 45 minutes to an hour talking F1, talking cards, just doing whatever. Not much on my mind. How have you been?
I've been doing I think it's been a pretty mellow off season. Just waiting to get. I mean, it's been like 3 months, and it's like felt like an eternity. Um, but hey, season starting this weekend. Just excited, So I mean, definitely, I was like, that's why I was like, hey, I'm just gonna call up Noah and see if he wants to talk some F1 because it's right around the corner.
No, yeah, I'm really excited for this season. I don't know. I'll just jump into some conversation. I think this season's really interesting because people I think, are putting way too much stock into the preseason results that we've seen. So I see people making these just ridiculous predictions about the season. So I want to hear what your thoughts are about what you think, who you think's gonna surprise, who you think's gonna struggle. Some just general thoughts of what you have for the season.
Well, it's interesting, right? Like last season, like Mercedes just looked like crap in preseason, and look what happened, right? I
Yeah.
mean, they notched their number 8 constructor championship, almost an 8 title for Lewis. I mean, barring any shenanigans, but I mean, it just goes to show you, like, teams that have had great engineering somehow, the creating right, they just rise to the top. Definitely. I mean, can I say that Mercedes is gonna you know win it again? I don't know. I mean, it's really tough, especially with these new regulations, with the new cars, the porpoising effects. I'm thinking Mercedes has got a great chance of fighting for the title again. I mean, they came up with that no pod design, right? Their
Yeah.
whatnot, and then I mean, it's really innovative, but sometimes innovation can go the wrong way quickly sometimes, and they didn't look great um, last round of testing, but they looked half decent first round of testing. So you never know, Mercedes could surprise. I mean, the one thing that out of all of it that I think was kind of like I wanna trust in the testing was Ferrari just
I knew
looked.
that's where we were going with that. Yeah.
I mean, geez, right? I mean, consider, like, I always thought it was kind of weird, right? Last season, in the midst of a fight with McLaren for third, which I mean, it's in its own right is its own little battle, right?
Yeah.
Mattia decides to stay at home at Ferrari for like 4 or 5 races, it seemed, to work on the car. I mean, he's always at the races, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's like, I'm gonna stay home and I'm gonna work on this car. I mean, that's the level of. I mean, that just gives you kind of the level of excellence they wanted it to achieve this year, right?
Yeah.
And it's scary because they were very good in that last half of the season. I mean, taking third away, and just to say, oh, we're gonna do our last upgrade, and boom, right? I
Hmm.
mean, McLaren had no answer, and I'm a McLaren guy, right? I'm a Lando guy, so it's tough to see that. But then again, it's great in terms of for the competition, right?
Yeah.
So Ferrari, I believe Ferrari's gonna be making that great push, for the top again, um, and whatnot. And then, I mean, Red Bull,
Yeah.
right? Um, I mean, regardless of how good the car is, I mean, we all know how good the driver is, right?
Hmm.
I mean, so that being said, I mean, Max being at the top again, I mean, barring some terrible like engineering mishap, which they didn't look to have in that second session. So
Yeah.
I mean, they're gonna look good, and all I can hope for is you know a pretty good engineering performance out of McLaren to kind of round out the top four. But there's a lot of questions going into the season, you know. And
Yeah.
what's your take on it, man?
So I mean, I didn't watch them live. I watched the recaps, was reading some articles, and I think I'm kind of similar in you. I want to buy into Ferrari because I know how much money Ferrari that system just brings in Italy. But the Ferrari the last few years, I could have said the same thing that they would improve. And I mean, besides them cheating in 2019, look where that really got them. It didn't get them far. So I mean, so I have that, and then my biggest thing I'm curious about is see how Haas does this year. I think it's just good for the sport if Haas does well to show that any team on like the back half of the grid can hit a regulation right and do well. I mean, last year they basically gave up on everything with their car. Their car was a worse version of their 2020 car. So I'm curious to see what they do with that. There's some drivers that I'm also want to see how they do this year. I think the big thing for me is I'm trying to see what team. I think it's more fun to argue what team's gonna be on the bottom than on the top because I think that's just a fun conversation to have. Because anybody can predict Mercedes at the top or Red Bull, but it takes some insight to who you think's gonna finish on the bottom because that's really what team you think's gonna miss the regs. So I'm curious who you have for that. I have a team that I think will surprise people by being on the bottoms, but I want to hear what you're thinking.
Well, it's interesting. I've seen some predictions of like Williams and Alpha. I mean, Alpha had a pretty tough 2 weekends.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm kind of with you. I mean, I think the surprise will probably come out of Haas. I mean, they could have spent a whole season not really working on their car, working on the car that they were racing. Yeah, I'm gonna spend the money and go work for 2022. I mean, I hope for them that that works out. I mean, that if it doesn't, that might cost my man Gunther, maybe a couple of years in
Yeah.
F1 purgatory. I mean, definitely, it would surprise me that they wouldn't finish in at least in the middle of the mid tier midfield guys. But I think it's surprising, especially with that move to K Mag.
Hmm.
Um, and you got some experience in there. He's been around long enough. He's actually driven in cars that have actually performed well, right?
Yep.
So he knows what it might take to get that car right. Versus if they had Mazepin in there, they would have just been driving around in circles at the back again. I think
Yeah.
personally. I mean, so that them. Um, Man, Alpha is kind of scary to me because I mean they just didn't look super good.
No.
Um, Williams, I actually think like Williams is gonna be an interesting battle to watch. Just because you know they got um they got two drivers that I think could outdrive each other on every single race. It could flip
Yeah.
flop back and forth, and that'd just be fun to watch, right? I mean, I definitely think Latifi was actually driving really well. I mean, he helped win a championship, didn't he? Um,
Yep.
but got stuff like that, and then you got, I mean, you got some other teams like Alpine and AlphaTauri, and I think those guys will be up there too in the top of the midfield. So I mean, I definitely it leads me to suggest that I'm thinking it's gonna be like Alpha and Williams for some reason. I mean, I think Haas is gonna surprise them. They came back with a little bit of gusto. Like Alpha just hasn't showed anything in the last. I feel like they haven't shown anything. I mean, they had Kimi Räikkönen in there, and they couldn't muster. They would muster 1 point here or there.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think Guan Yu Zhou is gonna be that much better than Kimi Räikkönen. I mean, definitely, at least not for development. And Botas coming in probably like sort of late knowing that he was gonna be in there and whatnot. I mean, he probably didn't. He probably wouldn't have had any input anyways. So I mean,
Yeah.
these Alpha's going in blind, and Latifi's a little bit more of a structured approach with the Williams team, and I mean, and you know that Albon's like a 1 year rental,
Exactly.
right? So it's just kind of I want to see Williams kind of perform better. Um, but yeah, like you said, it's fun to have to talk about who's going to be in the back. I mean, obviously there are going to be some very interesting battles back there. Um, I hope it comes out the way we kind of think it is, and it's going to be kind of take the disparity away from all of the teams being like so far away from the front. I mean, I hope it kind of bunches them up a little bit more with these new cars and the
Yeah.
ability to have a better chance of chasing people down, even though it doesn't seem like they've got the overtaking ability that they thought they would. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think that's kind of where I'm at. I'm just like happy to see the season back. I mean, obviously, in my mind, like, all I want is a few Lando wins, and I would be happy for a great season for everybody. Um, when I forgot Aston Martin, I mean, definitely. I mean, I think they'll be fighting up there, with AlphaTauri and Alpine, but I don't think they got enough to take on McLaren or Ferrari. But you know, but definitely bottom of the barrel, thinking Williams and Alpha.
Interesting. Yeah, so I agree with you on Alpha Romeo. I don't like their chances. They have no experience in going you Joe. They have a Bottas that performed well in Williams in the mid 2010s, but I wouldn't say you want him being your lead guy developing a car. So that's a problem there. And then I think this might be the Williams fan in me wanting them to do well, but I don't think they are going to be that bad. I think I just like their driver lineup too much to predict them to be in the bottom again. Because I think Latifi's one of the most likable people on the grid, which is weird saying because nobody ever sees him. I think he's the most likable on the grid. And then you have another fantastic, like, fan favorite in Albon. So I can't predict them down there. But if I had to take a guess for a second team who's going to be down there, it's going to be a coin flip between Aston Martin and Alpine. I think one of them is just gonna hit something wrong with the regs. I think I lean more Aston Martin with that because they kind of struggled last year.
Mm.
So I'm gonna lean maybe Aston Martin struggles, but I mean it could very easily be Alpine who just missteps. I think one of those midfield teams is gonna try to take a shot, and one of them I think is gonna take a step up, and one of them is gonna take a step down. That's just kind of how those midfield teams go because they know they have to do something to try to get up there. Because they do the same thing, they'll be a midfield team. So I'm gonna say Alpine does well, Aston Martin struggles for the first bit. But I think a bigger prediction I have that kind of speaks to the season. I think every single team will score at least 1 point this year. Which I don't know if that's a hot take or if that's a cold take. I don't really know. I haven't talked to anybody, but I think every team will score a point this year at these new cars. Just because there's so much uncertainty that anything could happen in these first few races for teams to pick up points. So I think we're in for a season where every team scores points and every point will matter for the end of the year with the constructors with how much money they're gonna get.
I mean, I definitely agree with you. I actually I was talking to a friend about this, and I was like, you know what? Honestly, the first four races, you might actually see four different winners.
Yeah,
Four different winners in the. I mean, I think even maybe the first five races. I mean, you're talking just the variation in different track setups and whatnot, and these new cars. And I mean, obviously, it some teams will come in and hit it right on the head, and other teams will come and be like, great one, great 1 week setup, not great for the second week. I
yeah,
mean, so like you're saying, it's like the the amount of teams that can score points, every team can score points. I mean, and I think even if you look at like say lead drivers for each of the teams, I think each of the lead drivers, if you went with your number one guy, um, has tasted points at some point in their career, right? So it's
yeah.
obvious, that they have the ability to be there. And on top of that, I mean, talk about there will be calamity in turn one of every race. It
Yes.
seems right. So you
Yes.
talking a surprise Ocon to win? Um, I mean, definitely. I now that you mentioned that, like, one team in the midfield is gonna move, take a chance, and the other's gonna fall back. I always feel like for some reason Alpine is that team that takes a step back for some reason, and I really don't want to see that because I really want to see more commentary and more cameras on Fernando Alonso, because I mean, how long more do we get to see this guy? I mean,
Yeah.
defend like a lion. I mean, I was like, damn. I mean, that's the line for me. For like the, I mean, hopefully I got it right. But that's my moment of Fernando Alonso is when he said that, and I was like, that's super cool. Like, and after he needing Ocon to return the favor for him for his win in Hungary. So yeah, I mean, definitely gonna be. I like the prospects of the season. I really do. I love the unknown, the uncertainty. Like, it's exciting. It's
Yeah.
exciting to see him out there, and who's gonna be aggressive. And I mean, is it gonna be Lewis's eighth world championship and a retirement shortly after, or is it gonna be Max's two-time world champion, or are we gonna see a new champion? I mean, that's
Exactly.
that's very well a good question. You know.
Yeah. So before I jump into some card stuff, I just want your predictions on the season. Maybe who you think's gonna win this first race, who you think's gonna overperform, underperform, and then a champion. Or maybe just some, maybe not those, but just some fun predictions you have to see, look back on, see how well you did.
Oh wow, this is yeah. You
I know
know,
I'm kind of putting you on the spot here, but
I think quietly. I hate to say this, but I quietly Sainz is gonna outperform Leclerc.
okay.
I mean, I think he's gonna outperform there. I think Ferrari's, Ferrari's gonna surprise maybe the first couple of races till maybe a Mercedes gets in front, and I think at the end of the year, I think Lewis gets his eight.
Hmm.
That's my bold prediction. He
Bold
gets his eight.
prediction.
Yeah, I mean honestly, like based upon last season, I mean definitely either one of those guys could have won. I mean
Yeah.
there's so many. I mean you look back on it and it's a magic button thing or a little like puncture at Baku, and it would have just been one way or the other, right?
Yep.
Um, so I mean, do I, do I think he's gonna come under fire? Absolutely. I mean, and it's almost like Tiger Woods getting chased down by Rory McIlroy and Justin Thomas and all these. I mean, if
Yeah.
you look at it from a greats perspective, like people know that he is not invincible, so that may bother his psyche, or might we'll see. I mean these greats, when they fall hard. So
Yeah.
maybe I'm totally absolutely wrong, and then hell, maybe it's a Lando Norris world championship year. I know that's not popular opinion, but I mean definitely he had, for me, honestly, from a standpoint of what I saw last year, sort of some stuff that I've seen on Drive to Survive. Like I mean, like there is like this, like you can tell that he wants it, you
Yeah.
know. And the way that he kind of drove to help, Ricardo and Monza. Um, I mean, even that learning moment in Sochi. There were a lot of times when it's like he held off Lewis or he did something, and just if you start reading between the lines, it's like that's no right.
No.
So obviously, some people would say he's overrated, but I think he's grown a lot, and I think it's going to be a battle between him and Ricardo too. So
Yeah.
that's another challenge, because I definitely based upon watching some of that behind the scenes footage that Drive to Survive provides. It's definitely not the bromance with science. So definitely it's gonna be interesting to see how Zach Brown handles that. But oh man, I think like my one guess is I think Fernando Alonso is gonna win a race this year.
Gotcha.
I think he's gonna win one.
That's a
I think he's gonna get one. Like just through sheer luck or coming out of a crash or something, and he's in the right place at the right time. That um maybe he gets one, man. That guy is. I mean, he's shown that he's still that good.
yeah.
You know.
It's a good
And then
prediction.
oh man, and then out of the normal guys, I'd say, geez, I think Botas gets like Botas might get like you know. I hate to hate on the guy. I kind of like the guy actually. I mean, he has cool helmets. But maybe he gets like less than 50 points. Easy, right? I mean, less than
yeah.
50 points. I think. I here's my bold prediction. Screw it. I think Latifi outscores Botas.
okay.
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
That's a fun one.
I think that's a fun one. And like you said, I personally, after I watched some of the footage on the F1, I think when it was at Coda when he was actually shooting baskets, doing that basketball thing, then
Yeah.
I'm like, wow. And a couple of other times when you watch DTS, you watch some of the Formula One things, and he's just, I mean, he's like one of the guys. I think he just a normal guy.
Yeah.
I mean, feels like you could go and get some beers and have some pizza and be like, this is an awesome night, right? And there's, all, So yeah, I mean, I like you, I pull for that guy. I mean, I even pull for Alex Albon. The guy got done dirty too. So
Yeah.
and then even, I mean, I love all the drivers actually. To be honest, for the most part, I mean, I never even talk about Gasly or Yuki,
yeah.
but I love those two guys too. So we'll see, man. I think it's gonna be a great season. Shit, I think even Alpha Tori is gonna surprise. I think Gasly gets like 1 or 2 wins this year. That's my
Wow.
thought. But
Yeah.
you know,
So, just thinking about before I make my predictions. Yeah, with Latifi, some of my favorite videos weren't even by F1. They're by just the Williams Racing team, like the insights into races,
mm,
and just his like him with the engineers and him with Russell, like his like chemistry with him. It's just so funny to me, and also his like infatuation with Nutella. He talked about it like every episode. He's like, man, I wish I could have some Nutella right now. Like he did it every single time, and I thought it was hilarious every time. But I'm trying to think a bold prediction for me to make. I actually really like the Fernando Alonso one. I don't know. I'll just say some predictions. I don't know if they're bold or not. I think both Ferrari drivers win a race this year. Um,
yep.
it's tough. I'm trying to think who. I'm gonna make a midfield prediction to win, kind of like yours, but Alonso would have been probably my first guess. So I'll have to think about that. But yeah, I think the one I'm interested to see is if how Russell does compared to Lewis. I think a really hot take. I don't know if it's hot would be Russell outscores Lewis. I think that's probably actually really hot. But I don't know. Because when I heard this take in the past and I kind of scoffed at it. But the more I like read into it, the more I actually kind of agreed with it because they're making the comparison to Ricardo when he came to Red Bull in 2014, where he was just the new guy and Vettel was what at that time I can't remember if he was 3 or 4 time world champ at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But Ricardo comes in and just totally, I wouldn't say dominates him, but he like outperforms him pretty handedly in the season. So wouldn't be surprised if Russell does something along those lines. To predict a winner, I'm gonna say I'm gonna say you're Alonso one. I think Alonso does win a race. I think that's just where I'm gonna go with it. I think. Ooh, here's one. I think Mick outscores Kevin Magnussen in the Haas.
Ooh,
I think
dicey.
that's probably a hot take I would make. I also think that's gonna be if there's a team that's gonna be the most likely to have in team drama, it is Haas with Magnussen and Schumacher because they're both kind of just really. I mean, you couldn't really see it with Schumacher last year, but they're both really aggressive drivers. So I think there could be something between them there. I don't know if I have
Yeah,
anything else for it. It's gonna be a lot of
yeah,
fun.
I agree with that. I think I like I said, I think in Discord I was like, Magnuson is gonna drive angry, and he's not there to help make it better. He's gonna be there to be like, I'm back.
Yeah,
I mean that I think that's the one scary thing about that bringing him back. I mean, I think Magnuson deserves to be back. I mean, you know, I mean him or Grosjean could have been back. I mean, and I would have freaking been happy. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's tough. I mean, if Haas can actually put out a car that is actually really drivable, it will be interesting to see how Mick drives it, right? Because I mean,
yeah,
obviously it was terrible last year, and now he's gonna be with a vet, and I mean, I it would have been actually good to have Mazepin over there because he just have that dominating my my other driver feeling and that confidence, like yo, I own them, so let's focus on other people, right? But
yeah,
now he's gonna be watching his shoulder. Um, that Russell one, it possibly could. I just feel like I feel like Toto sat down Russell and be like, hey, we're gonna get for the Mercedes brand Lewis an 8 championship, and that way Schumacher can't say any. It's basically hey, that's it. It's 8, right?
yeah,
And then you can have your fun, or hey, we'll let you have some wins here or there. But you know what? When it comes down to it, I mean, it's very apparent to me that in a way maybe in the 5 seasons, I think if Botas was there for 5 seasons, is Botas really did a great job as Hamilton's Robin.
yep,
I mean, he did it well. Yes, we seen some points last season where it was like, oh hell no, I'm gonna make this a little bit tougher. But other seasons you look at it and you're like, hey, he did it, man. And they rewarded him with wins too, right? When just stuff wasn't gonna go right, they take it home, Valtteri.
yep,
So maybe that same mentality works, but you're gonna have somebody like Russell who can kind of put pressure on. Maybe Russell's there to really try to put pressure on Max this season, right? To really make him forget about, hey, I gotta get Lewis, but dang, Russell's on me like
hmm,
white on rice, right?
yeah,
Maybe that's it. But yeah, I mean, I definitely think that Russell has a chance to really score well if that Mercedes is driving well. I mean, there's no doubt the guy is an excellent driver, right? I mean,
yeah.
definitely, and it's gonna be interesting. That's one dynamic, yeah, like we didn't really touch on, but I mean, definitely. I mean, obviously, they wouldn't want to be bringing in somebody so disruptive to Lewis.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah,
All right, so I'm gonna jump away from the real talk. I wanted to see. I know you were telling me before this you've been busy, but if there's anything you've been buying, you're looking to buy, how the cards have been treating you recently.
you know what? It's so weird. I see everybody ripping cards now, and I'm like, dang, I really should have bought some just to enjoy some of the fun, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't, but I still feel okay about that, right? I mean, I'm like seeing people rip and pull like red Hamilton, orange Hamiltons, and I'm like, really? I mean, yeah, cool and all, but I mean, I would rather hit that Alonso auto or something. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
it'd be nice to pick up a Hamilton auto, but I mean, I was looking at the prices and I'm like thinking to myself, geez, there's really, um, I mean, I was thinking, wow, if this was first year, yes, but second year, I think I'll just pick up singles. But I mean, even looking for signals has been difficult. There really hasn't been
Yeah.
a lot to pick off. I mean, like I'm personally like thinking to myself, I'm gonna pick up some mistakes, right? I mean, I
Yeah.
feel bad to say that, but I'm gonna pick up some mistakes. But weirdly enough, there hasn't been any mistakes. I mean, there just hasn't been a lot that's like, yep, that's a great buy, or I mean, or
I felt
something,
the
or maybe I'm just missing them.
no, I felt the same way because I always am looking out for deals, but maybe I'm looking, maybe we're looking in the wrong places because I haven't seen really any that I really wanted to sink my teeth into as like. There's been some that have kind of like, dip my feet in the water, like, maybe if this goes low enough, I'll bid on it. But there hasn't been anything that I've seen for a price. And I'm like, yes, I'm gonna jump on that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, do I? And it's weird too, right? Like, and it's totally weird to me. Like, in my mind, I was so focused on 2020, and now I'm looking at 2021, and I don't even know what the hell a short print is in this set. I don't. I mean, like, it's like I don't care. Whatever's, like, I mean, and then you're like, oh, well, which is the I mean, I have no idea. I'm like looking at these, and I'm like, there's like three different. I mean, like last year there was the high number, there was the car card, and then there was the driver of the days. And when I'm like, what
Yeah,
is this other card of this? And you know what the IV looked like because it was so distinct. Um, and this one is just like, is that the IV or is that whatever? It's not really. Yeah, it's important, but yeah, I mean, hell, I mean, I remember telling one of the guys in Discord, it's like, I think, hey, you know what? I would sell that and buy the best 2020 that you can find of that guy.
yeah,
Like, sell it. Like, I mean, um, and it's just interesting perspective that I have. But honestly, I mean, this is a great time for new people to get in and be able to afford to get stuff because of the amazing run up in prices.
yep.
I mean, it's just amazing to see that prices have held over the off season. Hell, prices have gone up during the off season, right? I mean, they're just. I mean, like we talked a while back, there's just not enough print run in the dynasty and this set to be even make a dent in like the need to have these things, right?
Yeah.
And um, and it even seems that way with 2021. It's like boxes are like $6, and you're like, wow, you know, autos are like seem like well, I thought autos were gonna be harder to hit, but they seem like they hit pretty well in the
Yeah.
F2 world at least.
Yes.
Um, Talking double the autos of most drivers, right? Other than the fact that Alonso's out of 55 and Hamilton's what like is it out of 70 something this?
I don't know about him. I
Um,
know Alon. I know uh, Vettel's like 52. I don't know. They're all right around the 50. I feel like
yeah. Well, the good thing is that there's actually no missing autos. It
they're.
seems.
I saw a
Um,
miss. I saw a miss sticker on one of them, but I don't know how often that was. I
oh,
saw a Mazepin Gold with no sticker. I don't know if it was just the one card though. So that could have been a
maybe
one-time thing.
maybe they printed it after the war started. I don't know. Jeez, I mean, took away his visa on that thing. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I also it's weird that the UK doesn't have the rookie logo, right?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that helps everybody that has an F2 Yuki rookie card.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, and then on top of that, the sheer amount of parallels is just like I'm like, okay, so you got purple, and you got this checkerboard purple, and then you got this ray wave thing, and then you got the wave, and then I mean, like they, I mean, obviously there's still gonna be a need for everybody to get their fair share of that stuff, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, and it seems like randomly you can hit everything out of anything, which is great, right?
Yeah.
Um, so I mean, will it be a successful product? Absolutely. I think we'll remember it as, hey, it was a nice 1-2 punch, right? Out of this first 2 years. Actually, I'm more concerned about like, okay, hey, if this can transition and we have lights out, so we have lights out, we'll have Ops flagship, we'll have Chrome, we'll see Dynasty very shortly, right? And
Yep.
I think that is that it. Is that it for 2021 cards?
I believe so, unless they do like another lights out style thing, which I think's potentially likely if they do like another thing printed like that. But I don't think there's much else lined up. I think it's also weird how Topps knows this, but they decided to release Chrome like 2 weeks after paper, which I find to be a weird move from them when they could have milked it out over a longer time just to build the more hype to it. Oh, we'll have
Yeah.
Sapphire. We'll have Sapphire come out,
Oh yeah, 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 yeah,
so
yeah,
that'll
yeah.
be that'll be something. And then on the like on the parallels, like when I first saw how many parallels there were, I agreed with you. But then once I actually looked into it, it actually made it a lot easier like to understand because like checkerboard checkerboards are kind of like numbered similar to like true waves and the ray waves, except the purple. Like the gold's out of
Hmm.
50, the red's out of 5, the orange is out of 25 to make those easy.
Yeah.
But then the purple's just out of 199 for checkerboard, which I'm holding a purple out of 199 checkerboard right now in my hand, just looking at it just to make sure.
Yeah.
And so like I really like this product. I bought into a I don't know if you saw, but I bought into a full case break of the
Yeah.
product. So I saw a ton. I've seen so many boxes be ripped on lives, and I think as much as I love 2020, I really love these cards pictures. Like some of like the alternate ones for like Lewis Hamilton are stunning. Like the one with I love the one with confetti, but there's the one of him celebrating with the celebration in the background of the fireworks and the Ferris wheel. There's just so many good
Oh,
pictures in this set that I feel like 2020 got like the B tier photos when this one went just all for it with the photos, which I think is really appreciated for me because I mean there's some cards that like as much as I love F1, I just want to there's some cards that I want to buy, but I can't because they're too expensive just because of how awesome the picture looks. Because I feel like I couldn't say that a lot with 2020 except the one with Seb, one what is it, 147 when he's standing on the car in Singapore.
yeah. 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 I mean, I agree with you. I mean, that like I've like yeah, the pictures are. I think we were talking about this. I think last season. Like we need to see like a top stadium
Stadium
esque
Club.
picture type, release where we get more of like what the racing's about than just these studio portraits, right? And these
Yeah.
one, and like you said, that Seb standing on his car. I mean, it rings true in this 2021 set where you got these great pictures, and unfortunately for me, I'm like looking at, it, I'm like, I really want that card in this color, and then
Yeah.
you go and look it up, and you're like, I am not paying that money. I'm like, I want it that bad, but wow, that's a lot for that, right?
That's I'm curious what card you feel like that because I have a card that in my head that I have that exact same feeling towards right now.
Well, it's funny. I like that. I do like that one that he's doing like the shoey with the confetti. I really like that
Oh
one.
yeah.
I like the Ferris wheel. I
Yep.
mean, I like the Ferris wheel. Some people say they like the one with him standing on the car. Um,
I mean
the thing
we had that picture for Tops now. It doesn't excite me.
yeah, that one looks too tiny.
Yeah.
Um, the one portrait that he has is maybe it's like an IV. I think that should have been that should have been his card because in his normal card he looks like, I mean,
He looks derpy.
it's just like,
He looks weird.
oh god, it looks so, they shrank him,
Yeah.
um and whatnot, but yeah, I mean, I haven't really studied the set as much as I like. I mean, I'll see cards where I'm like, yeah, I do like the card. I mean, I'm very partial. I like the car cards for some reason. I think it's because I got that Max Super in the car, and I just gotten all these car cards
Yeah.
because of them, because I just like them. And but I do like the Lewis picture in that one too.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, which one is your favorite, man?
So, the one that I've loved the most is the one with Lewis standing on the confetti, looking up. I
Yeah,
said that right when paper came out that was my favorite picture, and I still kind of subscribe to that thought that is my favorite picture, and I especially
yeah.
thought that when I saw a on eBay. It might still be there. I haven't checked, but it's the gold wave of
Mm,
it. So it's the gold wave, the gold border. But the thing with it's weird because the confetti card in the chrome doesn't look good because the confetti in the background doesn't pop. There's not enough color, so it kind of just looks like Lewis on like a
yeah.
gray background. but for some reason with the refractors they pop. Like anything with a refractor, the confetti really stands out and looks incredible.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
especially
yeah.
with the gold wave, because it was the gold border, but then all the confetti colors were there with Lewis looking at the camera, and I was like, "This card is incredible! Like I have to buy this." And then I saw the price on eBay of like $500, and I'm like, "Would I buy this for 500, or would I take my chance with like two light boxes?" And I was like, "I'll go buy two light boxes for that price."
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, it's fun. I mean, buying into those case breaks was a ton of fun. I did really, really well in that. Um, and then it's funny because I've talked a little bit on the channel, but I mean, my dad collected the '90s, all this stuff, and he
Hmm,
loves
hmm.
the cars. And he loves F1. So I told him like, oh, like the new boxes are coming out. Like I'm buying into a case break or whatever. He's like, okay, sounds good. And then on release day, I get a text from him at like 12 o'clock. And he's like, I'm at the hobby shop. I just bought a hobby box. And I was like, what? So he went and bought a hobby box for himself, or like just for like us in general, I guess, because I tell him everything. And he ended up pulling out of a light box. He pulled the checkerboard Lewis Hamilton. So like,
Yeah, I
and so it's
saw
like
that. That is a nice card though. That checkerboard matches, right? I mean, so
exactly like that's a card. Like it's like, I mean, technically it's my dad's, but I mean, I know he still does it because I enjoy it. But like that's a card I'm gonna keep forever just because how much I love that card and like that personal connection. And it's just like I love the product. The checkerboards look incredible in person. I know you haven't. I don't know if you've seen them yet in person because you said you haven't seen the product a ton, but
yeah.
they give off really strong X fractor X fractor, but they're in a way where I really do like them. I haven't seen the standard checkerboard just yet. I've only seen the purple one,
Mm,
but
yeah, yeah,
or at
yeah.
least in person I've only seen the purple one. But I'm really excited for that. And then actually in a few days I'll actually have another checkerboard. I don't know if you saw how I did in the break, but I pulled a from Pyrite, so shout out Scott, a out of five red checkerboard. So
I saw that. I thought that was that I think the checkerboards are a nice touch. I mean, I like certain checkerboards more than others. But I feel like, and I don't know if it's just me or not, but like I swear, like even the X Factors sometimes and the regular checkerboards, like I mean, good thing Panini, right? But
yeah,
man, they always seem like they're difficult to grade for some reason. I don't
yeah, just print
I
lines
will.
everywhere on them usually. I'm gonna look at this one now. I don't see any print lines on this one, which is a good sign, but I know that they're plagued with print lines.
Yeah, yeah, but I mean, they're great cars. I think definitely the red ones, um, the the black ones. If you got a purple for
Yeah.
Hamilton, yeah,
Don't get me wrong, I would
um,
have rather had like a true red or a red wave over the checkerboard, but
yeah,
like I don't know, I'll you can't complain for anything out of five. Especially
yeah,
like
yeah.
I got a five of Sebastian Vettel. Like I can't nothing to really nothing to complain about with that, which will be fun to see in person. I think I should get that in a few days. So I said I was gonna.
So it's
I think I'll do a
oh.
video where I just showcase everything I've got recently because I just have a ton of crazy stuff on my desk right now that I want to show people. But
Now let me ask you this though: what's the hierarchy? Is it still true red, red wave, then red checkered? Then you
um,
think?
well, for probably the general audience, yes, I've always subscribed to I like the red wave more than I like the waves more than the normal. So
Hmm.
my personal opinion is red wave to red checkerboard.
Yeah.
If we're gonna throw a ray wave into the mix,
Oh, yeah, that's true.
um, I think I think checkerboard still stays at the bottom. I think the normal wave, not the ray wave, the normal
Yeah.
wave stays at the top, and I think the ray wave's gonna be a hit or miss depending what card you have, where the waves kind of go on the card for the ray wave. Because I
Yeah.
think on some cards it could look better than the true just like the true red. But I think on
Yeah.
some cards it would be distracting. and not kind of give it the pop. So I think that's going to be kind of about where to put the red, for my personal
Yeah.
opinion.
Oh, that's. I mean, I think I agree. I mean, I definitely thought. I thought the, like you said, the red wave depending the ray
Yeah, it's gonna be confusing to
wave.
say.
Those are like, yeah, it's like, since the pattern is so in your face, right?
Yeah,
It seems like that one's like, yeah, you gotta get, if you get it in the right spot, then it's like, wow, wow, wow. You know, even to a certain extent, the wave cards, right?
yep,
There's just some waves that for some reason you look at it like, damn, this one is way better than,
yeah,
it'll make a true look like, oh, true is just too boring. This is like, I mean, I feel the same way. I mean, that's why I like in 2020 I picked up Gold Wave autos, because I just like, oh wow, a certain one of these look really nice. You know, like
yeah,
um, but popular to contrary belief. You know, usually it's the opposite way around. With the general audience, it's always the true versus the wave.
yeah.
But
They always love the trues way more than the waves.
yeah, I mean, it's interesting though. I mean, I totally forgot about the ray waves. I mean, I've seen some of the one on ones, and I do like that. Like the black and white.
The black,
Um,
yeah, I do. I think it's funny how like the normal one's black and white, but the one of one's black with the color. I think it's a fun kind of
yeah.
yin yang to kind of fill it out.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it, I've been tempted to just be like, oh, maybe I'll just pick up a light box just for the just the giggles of opening one again and
Oh,
seeing
I
what
think
I
you
get. I
should.
mean,
I think you should. For I mean, don't get me wrong, $300 for it's not like it's not expensive, but it's not like nothing. I think it's a perfect spot where if you want to go buy a box just to rip some F1 cards, it's reasonable to do so. And like personally, like I'm not big, like I don't need to have a guaranteed auto in a box for me because I
yeah,
know 2/3 of the autos are gonna be F2 anyways, and like I've seen cases where you'll get one or two F2 autos in a case. So like the majority you're gonna get is either no auto or an F2 auto. So
yeah,
I don't mind paying the $300 to get a light box, especially considering I mean I know they're really hit and miss, but the light box I saw that my dad ripped was just like I've never like I think it's unreal the cards. How many parallel? I think we hit like 7 parallels in the box. It was ridiculous how the box went. So yeah, I would say if you have the time and the money to pick up a light box just to rip some F1.
oh yeah, yeah. I mean, definitely any box that's like under 1,200 bucks. It seems like it's cheap now. In comparison.
Yeah, I think I'm at the point where I know I'll end up buying a confetti Lewis at some point. So I'm gonna have to just wow wait for the right one when I have that. But I'm also thinking that I'm gonna pick up some nice F2. I'm gonna pick up either an Oscar or a Theo, and instead of buying from Chrome, I'm gonna wait till Sapphire. Maybe even I, maybe if I have enough money, I'll do a Sapphire box. I think that'd be a lot of fun, as I've never ripped Sapphire before. But yeah, I just wanna. I think the smart thing for me to do would be to wait till Sapphire, because my whole thing that I try to stay off top. I try to make it so when everybody else is selling, I'm buying, and when I'm buying, everybody else is selling. Because I like getting that nice. Like if you, I think you've been in this where you've seen everybody right now is want to sell.
Yeah,
I've like rarely I'll see one of buys. So like,
yeah.
and it's nice being off track, but I've kind of just ended up being on track with everybody else trying to sell stuff, and it's gotten to the point where I unfortunately have to go to eBay to sell stuff, and I despise selling on eBay just for the
Yeah,
fact
yeah.
just for the fact that I know I'm gonna have to give up X amount of percentage for taxes, which sure you should be paying your taxes, but nobody wants to do that and they're look for every other way to avoid them. So I think
Uh,
yeah, so like I just
as
try
they
to
are treating cards, right? Oh,
yeah I know just try to go anywhere else I can. So it's interesting for that, but yeah I'm gonna wait till Sapphire. I'm gonna let this wave of people buying pick up, And then when Sapphire comes out, that's when I may go back and look to pick up some Chrome. Because that at that point, the Chrome's not shiny, Sapphire shiny. Everybody's gonna sell their Chrome for Sapphire. So
Oh
that's
yeah,
the goal.
yeah. I mean,
Maybe best case
I
scenario when Sapphire comes out, I could pick up some 2020 Sapphire, some more blacks that I need,
ooh,
as I'm still
yes.
slowly chugging along on those. So here's hoping we can get some of those.
Oh yeah, I mean, I definitely think that's a good. Could there be another lull, that 1 or 2 week period where everybody's like, oh, what did I do again? Because there was that period
Yeah,
last season where it tested our patience, right?
I'm not exactly sure if there will be, but I think that's just gonna be me hoping for it. But I'm also like, I don't know. I right now I'm currently I have like a decent one coming back from PSA in that economy that I'm gonna wait to get back. So I'm not in the super big rush as I know I have stuff coming in. So I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's at the point where it's annoying that I can't buy stuff because I always like buying stuff, but I'm not too upset because I know I have stuff in the pipeline. I mean, I have a 1980 Prost at PSA that's just like practically like on step 7 of 8 right now, just waiting for me to see what grade it gets. But
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it just sucks because I mean, when you see all this color, sick stuff you want to buy, but I think it's smarter for me not to because I think these prices will on these parallels will all fall eventually in a few weeks. So
Yep, I agree. I think this. I think you pick you can pick your battles in this one, and
exactly,
since that we're into 2020, gives us the opportunity to be in that case. And I mean, for collectors that are not in our situation, my suggestion always is, you know, find what you like, do your homework, um, and there are some very interesting parts. Like I was just gonna ask you, is like, I mean, I've been seeing, dude, it's weird. I'm an insert. I like the inserts for some reason of 2020. So I'm like looking at inserts right for 2021, and I'm like, oh, Redliners, oh, Apex Predators, oh, the Path to the Podium. Interesting stuff, right?
yeah.
But it doesn't got like for me, it doesn't have that wow
No,
like track tag.
they don't have the WoW track tags. I think even when track tags came out, I just knew that was gonna be my favorite parallel of all time. I don't know if it'll be ever be able to be topped for me. Is it
Yeah.
just is everything that I want in an insert card. So I don't know. We'll see how that goes. I mean, what is it? The 1961 car cards inserts is decent. I do like the design of those. I think I like those
Yeah.
more than the World on Wheels design. So that's
Mm-hmm.
nice. But it's like those cards aren't going to be the thing that makes like jumps out to me like wow, that's what I really
Yeah.
want per se. Like they're cool. Like and if I owned them I'd be fine, but I'm not going to go buy a parallel of those car cards for 61.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think you posted, or wasn't it must have been 30. I think it was 33 posted the Lando 1 of 1
Yeah.
Apex, right? And I was like, it's super cool. Like, I mean, damn, if I could pull one of those, I would love to pull that all day long. But am I like gonna die to go buy that superfractor? Uh, if there was a superfractor track tag of Lando Norris in the first the first set, yes, I would find a way to have that, right? I mean,
I was going to say I know for a fact you would be trying to find a way to get that card.
oh gosh, I mean, but there wasn't any, right? So that was the disappointing thing to a certain extent.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Like, Tops one. I thought Tops was gonna show some type of consistency to carry some of these inserts through. Like, I thought maybe another track tags with like a Hamilton that said Hammer Time.
Yeah.
With the right nick, like
Yeah, cuz some of the nicknames were just not
yeah,
there. Like and I
yeah.
think it would have been a perfect opportunity to do it cuz you get Hamilton's, you can get Max again, you can get Alonso for one for the
Oh
first time.
yeah,
So many good
Alonso.
opportunities, especially cuz like it was nice cuz you got Kimmy, so you got the Iceman at least, but like
Yeah,
you
yeah,
and you knew that's what you're going to get, but like there's so many other ones that I think had chance. Like I think George Russell could have had a fun one for a set
Oh
like this.
man, that would have been super cool, right?
So I think there's some that you could have done, but yeah, I think it's just that's a missed opportunity. But yeah, I don't think we're gonna ever top those. And now it's tough for me just looking at some of the sales I've made. Like I'm not one to like regret any sales I've made, but it's more the thing that I'm like, wow, I wish I actually still held that card just because how cool it is instead of me selling it and getting to the next card. Like at the National, I
Man,
bought like it's hard to say now. I bought a gold track tags Leclerc for $100. Like I ended up selling and flipping that for a decent chunk of change. But like now I'm like, wow, I wish I just held that card because it's so rare and so cool to find that. Like I'm never gonna find that for a price like that ever again.
yeah. I mean, I was just talking to I think I was just talking to Chase about the Seb,
Yeah.
and it's almost like I told him how much I bought it for, and he's like, "When did you buy that?" I was like, "Probably in like May,
Which
you know,
wait,
like
wait which sub?
May or June." It was the Seb Gold Track Tag,
Oh yeah.
and you look at the price now, and I'm like, no, I told him, bro, I told you when you needed this that I try to get it to you. I'm not gonna rake you over the coals for this one.
Yeah.
Um, but definitely like crazy how much some of those cards are now, and you're like, holy crap! I mean, I could have bought every single one for probably under $100 at one point, and it was like everybody, and I think we had this talk. Everybody's sleeping on these, and
Yeah.
it just was a matter of time, and maybe time took a little too long, but by that time, like you couldn't find them anyway. So it's really interesting to look back on it, but it's like you said, it's really painful. I mean, I think you're a lot. I think you're a lot better off though, because then you don't necessarily super fall in love with the card where you're like, now is it time to let it go?
That's the one I was gonna say. That's the one thing that I've gotten much better at in the past. I've struggled moving cards, and this helped
Yeah.
me. It's like you just go from one extreme to the other. I get to the point now where I move stuff. I don't attach myself to stuff like recently I bought I can't remember when last year I bought a 1974 Nicky Lauda from the Discord for $100.
Yeah.
I sent it in, got it back. I think it took 3 months. It was one of the first economies.
Hmm.
Got it back, so I was in it for $150. It graded a 1.5. It had a crease in it, and I turned around and sold it the next day for $1,000.
Wow.
Just because of how it goes, and it's like it's awesome to be able to do that. But
Yeah.
now you're playing the game of when will I see this card again for me to be able to like
Oh.
eventually have it. But I mean, that's just what you kind of run with it. And I've gotten to the point where I think it's fun to always chase a new shiny object in cards. Like the stuff I have on my desk here, like I've always, since the first episode of the talks, I've always said I love the Avatar: The Last Airbender cards they came out with.
Yep.
And somewhere on my desk, I don't know where it went. Oh, here it is. I just recently bought an out of 10 of Aang. I went out and I finally found one after months, and I bought one.
Yeah.
It's just like I don't know. I try to buy the things that make me happy, but I also think can sell to the right person really well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I think that's my perfect balance. Where like, damn, it sucks that I'm gonna have to sell it, but
Yeah.
if I get the right price for it, and I understand that I'm more than willing to move it, just because I know I can go and buy the next thing. Like that's how I was with the Breaking Bad card. Like I bought that card expecting like, look, if I keep it, that's awesome, but I'm probably gonna end up moving it in the first week it comes back because nobody ever sees these cards. And I've
Yeah.
come to peace with it, and it's now something that's like kind of funny how it just moves so quick. But I don't know, you get used to it at a certain point, even though looking back can be tough sometimes. Because the worst one I have, and I don't regret any sales, like I was saying. The hardest video I have to watch ever is my first ever video of me going over my pickups from the National. And not like that it's a bad video by any means. I think it's actually really well done for my first video. But
Yeah.
just the prices I was getting at some of the stuff, looking back, it's just like are you serious? Like I remember I bought a gold I bought a Gold Wave Mick car for $1 at a table. I bought Albon out of 25 orange freshest for like $15. Like I'm buying like this like crazy stuff that's like hundreds and hundreds of dollars now. But back then I'm like, yeah, I bought it. If I could sell it for $30, I'm okay with it. And it's just like crazy. It's funny looking back at that stuff of how much stuff is blown up. Like I was buying portraits, portrait purples for like super cheap prices. And now
Yeah,
I don't have I don't think I have a single card I bought from the National with me. Or
yeah.
if I do, it's maybe one. I would have to check, but like I barely have any of them with me, which is just crazy how
Uh,
that goes. And like
I think that's good. I mean, I
it's
think that's good. I
good.
mean, it's gotten you to get those blacks that
Yeah.
have been
I
hard to get.
I was gonna say that if without the National, there's no way I get the black Hamilton that I cherish. Like it's my own child, even though I don't have a child. But like it's
Yeah,
just something that I hold so close because of how awesome and how much I love that card. But like I had to give up cards that I even that now like I'm like, ooh, I don't know if I should have given it up, but like I don't know, that's just how it goes. Like giving up looking back now, giving up an orange Leclerc portrait from Sapphire is tough. Like it's really tough, but like
yeah,
that's what I had to do to swing it. So
yeah. I mean, I think a big thing for me is in part of this collecting thing is like ever since I got that Lando 4, um, that 450. I mean, it's like really tempered my my chase.
hmm
It's been tough, right? It's in the sense that I like, man, this is like my grail. This stuff, this is my grail card, right?
yeah.
This is like my guy. But yeah, yeah. Obviously, I would love. I was joking around with somebody. I was like, I would love a Hamilton, a Hamilton Pro model.
Yeah.
Oh, I would love one of those. But I mean, technically, and is he my guy? I mean, I like the cheer. Absolutely, I would say he's probably, probably the second guy that I really like to cheer for, right? I mean,
Yep.
definitely. Um, but to have my card is like, and I'm like, I sold my purple out of 10 Lando, and I was like looking at it, it's like, well, this just doesn't seem like it's in place right now. And I mean, I let that go, and I'm thinking to myself sometimes, hey, can I buy that back? Probably not. But at least I mean, I think personally for me now, it's kind of a weird thing. Like, I've met so many cool people in the space,
Yeah.
and people that like I definitely cherish as friends, even though like I haven't met you in person, and I haven't met a couple other people in person. But like I'm willing to, like I enjoy the cards. I would love it to go to the right place, right? And
Yeah.
obviously, like certain cards, like that purple, like it went to the right place, right? It's
Yes.
for me. It's like I felt satisfaction in bringing that card to that person, and it made a relationship that I mean, honestly, like you know, I would not trade in the world for anything for. So I mean, it feels right.
Yeah.
Um, but like it's crazy how this thing has morphed from at one point just, oh my god, is that the right price? Yeah, let's go for it. I think might have overpaid paid it right for it, and
hmm
then it goes to like to the point where you're like, oh my god, what did I just, to like, oh my god, let me trade this and that and this and a ton of cash for that, which I may never ever see again. And now I got my Grail card, and then now it's like, well, hey, I would rather just deal with people that I really love to deal with, and if they want that, hey, for the right price, yeah, let's move it.
yeah.
And yeah, it's nice to get it going, and it's still like now, at least when we talk stories. It's not really about like, hey, what you got there? What's this? It's like, hey, hey, you ready for the season? So I think that's brought a lot of more joy in that sense. I mean,
Yeah.
this hobby, right? In the sense that like we've grown as collectors and as a group of people, right?
Yeah.
That love this sport and love these cards, and then it's great to see other people getting into it too. So that means it only bodes well for the future,
Yeah,
you know.
even touching on your point, I have this thing. I don't know who I told. I don't think it was you, but they couldn't believe when I told them this that with my black set, I buy like I couldn't tell you how many I bought from Jupe. I bought so many from Jupe, like a ridiculous amount. But we've got to the point where like I bought so many from him that we don't like even look at comps really anymore. We're like, oh, what do you? He's like, what do you want to pay for this? And I'll and like I won't look at a comp. I'll be like, I don't know, maybe let's play something like this, and he'll go, oh, give me a little bit more. Sometimes we'll say, oh, that's fine. But it's just fun, kind
Yeah.
of with that relationship. And like even recently, like he's like, oh, hey, I got a few more to send you, and he hadn't sent off a few others, and I was telling him like, yeah, like I'm gonna pay for this PSA order. Give me like a few days to get some more cash, and I'll pay for these. And he's like, you know what? I'll just send them now. I know you're good for it. You can just pay me when you get the money in later. So it's like stuff like that that's really awesome to be able to build those connections with people that I normally would never be able to interact with, which is really awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, I got like cards sitting here that are like earmarked. I got stickers on them, right?
Yeah.
Like so and so. If I'm selling it, it goes to so and so, right? I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, and they're not junk cards at all. They're actually really like high end in their own rights, right? But it's like
Yep.
that's the home for it. Like I don't care, whatever's. I mean, just give me what I paid for. I could care less sometimes, right? I'm
Yeah.
like, hey, it's gone. It's on to its right home. It's definitely maybe wasn't for me, but definitely for that person, right? And
Exactly.
yeah, I mean, it's good. It's good in a way that it's transcended to that, right? It's not about just the
Yeah.
cash flip, or it's like, oh, like let's see how much I can hoard anymore. Which, because I think at some point a lot of us were doing, right. It's like anything that I could hoard, I would hoard,
Yep.
and then now it's like, why am I even holding onto this like cardboard that somebody could find joy in, right?
Yep.
So it's interesting. This hobby has really grown, and definitely, I think it's good. I think it's great. It seems healthy. It's definitely a lot more different people are in those discords, and hey, it's like hey, what price you want to pay? Yeah, this, whatever, it's cool. Take
Yep.
it. Like
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, I'm gonna wrap this up in a few minutes, but I was gonna say just
yeah,
the people that I've met like are just so awesome, and like especially for F1 cards specifically, because I mean I have a few like in real life friends that I talk cards with all the time, but I don't have people really in real life to talk Formula One cards at all. So it's nice just for me to go to the Discord or go on Instagram and just just take a certain amount of time out of the day and just kind of relax, see what people are talking about, see what people are buying. All this stuff is just really awesome for me to see how much fun it's giving to other people. And like it's weird also too, like now for people I don't know how many people are listening now, but being like a mod on the Discord, like you definitely see like I don't know, you just pick up on things like when I was a normal member, like I wouldn't care about. Like now
yeah,
I like before, like I used to troll people all the time. I can't really do that as much anymore because it's a different dynamic when if you're just a normal member compared if you're somebody who has any like theoretical power in the group.
yeah,
But like I remember there was like there was a new person in the Discord where they like tag like they did like the at everyone or that I can't remember. They did one of the ats that brought a bunch of
yeah,
people,
yeah.
and you probably know what I'm talking about.
I know.
And
Yeah,
then like the first like reaction of everybody is to lose their shit. Like they're all like,
yeah,
"What are you doing? Why are you doing blah 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 blah?" And then like I just I'm like, "Look, like the guy just joined. Like I think F1. The problem I have with F1 is it's a bunch of for a lot of people it's really elitist, if you will.
yeah,
The F1 community, they're like, I've been here, I know what I'm doing, and they're some of the people are pretty unwelcoming to new people.
yeah,
And I think everybody finds it. Like I've even done it myself at times where like I'll see stuff and like want to sell on a trade. I'm like, why would somebody want that? Like that's it doesn't
yeah,
bring me anything. Then I have to take a step back and think like, look, like I've gotten to a point where I can enjoy the lower parallels and all this stuff. Whereas somebody who's just jumping in, like I don't know, a 14-year-old, 16-year-old kid who has gets only money on their Christmas and birthday, like it's a big card for them just to get like a base card of their favorite driver. So I think the
yeah,
big thing is just I think I'm gonna do something. I don't know how to possibly do it, but I want to address how some of the people in the F1 place just seem I wouldn't say entitled, but they just seem elitist, like they're better than you because they just know more. for
Yeah.
F1. So I think getting to a point where everybody can just help the new person instead of giving attitude, which I've done in the past. Like I'm not to a higher standard than
Yeah.
anybody else, but getting to a point where everybody can join in and learn, it would just be a better spot for the F1
Oh,
community.
absolutely. I mean, I honestly like. I mean, it's not that I get a whole lot of messages, but on Instagram, I have a ton of people. Like, I want to say ton of people, but a bunch of people that have messaged me, right? And they're like, "Hey, I'm new, blah blah blah," and I'm like, "Hey, cool. What kind of questions you got, man?"
Yeah,
Like, I know I was there, right? We're all sort of right there, right,
yeah,
at the beginning. Like, regardless of if you're an OG or you've got all this immense knowledge of F1, like 2020 was like the beginning for like 95% of all collectors, right? The
yep,
beginning of the F1 journey, right?
yeah.
Unless you're like Vettel One, who's got the greatest card of all time,
Yeah,
or
unless
some
you're
of those
Yeah, I
other
was gonna say
OGs.
unless you're Matt or you're some of those Mean Gene, unless you're those guys. But
Yeah. Other than that, they're the small percentage, and all of us that kind of went through this journey together. And I think that's what sort of made some of us like. I'm not in Discord as much as we used to be, right? But I'll pop in, I'll make a fun little joke, and but I'm there to help too. And like I mean, I'll jump in some chats and just raise the question like, hey, what number? What's better? Is a car number, or is it just to get people thinking again, right? Like,
yeah,
hey, and I think I had a fun conversation on the Instagram chat one day, and I was like, "Hey, 100K for that or a million? What's the number? What's the price tag on that Lewis 44? Right? Is it, well, it's a numbered card, right? It's like, I mean, but
yeah,
you know what? Some people just like I like for me to share this perspective of I actually didn't think anything about numbered, car numbers and whatnot till I actually got that Lando 404, and I'm like, holy crap, this feels super good. Like, this is the card number of the card, right? And I
yeah,
can see the joy in it for anybody that had a 4 out of 25 orange of Lando. And I'm like, oh, I should have got that one too. Like, and I see the joy in it, right?
yeah,
And for people to struggle through that and be like, hey, that ain't that cool. I would rather have this. I'm like, hey, wait till you get one in your hand. Like, I mean, obviously, I went through all of it, right? Last season,
yep,
like, I had the super, I had the super, I had the pair of only pair of supers. I had like the one of the few very PSA 10 of any super,
yeah.
and then all of that doesn't matter anymore because I got my Lando 4. Like, I'm honestly even thinking about like, hey, do I really need to have this card anymore? Because like, it doesn't give me as much joy as having this, right?
Yeah.
So and just to be helpful, I think Bangers is the best. I think Bangers is the best.
I
Even
love
I give him a hard time.
Yeah, I love
Sometimes I'm
bangers
like, hey,
too.
Bangers, right?
Yeah.
But he actually takes the time to go and like actually like I mean he said it before. It's like I just want everybody to feel the need to grow this community, right? I think it's or something on those lines, right? And I'm like, yes, that's right, and that's why and it's fun to give him a hard time because it's like but
He's easy to give a hard time to. He's just one of those
yeah,
guys you can give a hard time to.
yeah. But he's doing it. I mean, and
Yeah.
I think that's what's made. I think for that for our F1 Discord, it's made it enjoyable for people, and you can see that. Like, I mean, it's not just the same people anymore, right? It's a whole bunch of other people that I don't even recognize, and like I'll drop like where like I don't know even where to start that. I'll DM them and be like, hey, you know what? You should just think about it like this. That maybe that's some good perspective, right? And
Yeah.
I mean, that's we didn't have that when we jumped in there, but I feel like by doing that, that provides some value, right? I mean, it's not. I feel terrible because this can be a rough journey gone through. Luckily, we've been on the right side of it. Could have gone totally the opposite way, and we could be crying about this. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I think that's the way of giving back that I can, at least I can do, right?
Yeah, the last thing I'll say, the one thing that I miss about the Discord is that family aspect in the early times when there was just, 200 people, 250 people, and I feel like everybody would give a good price to somebody. It didn't feel like it didn't feel nearly as confrontational just because there's less people. Everybody, because you all know each other and you're all going to be talking with each other. But now,
Yeah.
as the more people join, people are less likely to cut any slack, and I find myself more often asking people and just hearing outlandish prices, and it's just like It's gotten to a point where you kind of just have to stick with the people you like, and then the people you don't like, the new people who are going to say stuff, let them do their thing. They'll figure it out eventually. But until then, I'll just do what I enjoy doing.
Oh, that's great, man. Yeah, I mean, I think MQH had made a good point to me one time when we are kind of talking stories about
When
stuff,
he's actually,
and
yeah, the one time a month when he's actually talking to somebody.
yeah, I think, but this is when he was on a lot, and it's kind of like, hey, you know what? You should make a deal with this guy because you know that's good, right? That's good for a relationship. And I'm
Yep.
like, you know what? That's really the truth. When it comes down to it, it's good for the relationship because you never know when you're gonna like. You might find people that, yeah, you want what they got, and but you know if you always playing hardball and you play hardball with other people, and people can't be like, hey, you know what? Hey, don't even deal with that guy because he's not even he's a hardballer, right?
Yeah.
It's not gonna. It's like you're definitely not gonna get that card. I mean, you're gonna have to hope and pray that something like weird happens so that you do get that card, right? But like I've noticed like the people that I stand in best regards with, and they chat me up, and we have a great time talking, and it's just above. It's not. It's more than just cards, right? It's like, hey, I'm getting rid of it. You want it? I know it's you. I know that that's your guy. And yo,
Yep.
what price? What you want to pay? That's it. Cool. Yeah, I'm happy. Yeah, that's cool. I'll throw it in the mail whenever, like next week, and you'll be good, right? Yep, cool.
Yeah.
Done. You know, so that's the joys. But yeah, I agree. Definitely, I miss that family aspect, and but I think we still are all family. I
Exactly.
mean, definitely when we come back to it, like it feels like yesterday. Like this feels like again, like all right, start of the season. All right, and we're ready to go. Lights out, and away we go. Right. So I mean,
Yep.
definitely on that note, I'm excited, and man, it's been good talking.
All right. Yeah. With that, I will wrap this up. Thank you for coming on and talking. It was a pleasure always talking with you. I know you're busy with your kids and being out in the great state of Hawaii. The time difference can be kind of weird for you, so appreciate you talking with me.
Oh no, not a problem, man. Appreciate it again, and it's always a pleasure again, and definitely, Paddock Talk is kind of what I love. I love doing this with you guys, and definitely being able to share some insight. It's always a cool thing because I always like to hear everybody else. Thank you again, man.
All right. For
Always,
everybody
always
who's
appreciate it.
still listening, thank you guys for listening, and I'll see you later. Have a good one. Bye.